Imagine a man who turned a failing textile company into a trillion-dollar empire, outsmarted Wall Street for 6 decades, and became a legend by simply being himself. Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, shocked the world in May 2025 when he announced his retirement at 94. After 60 years of leading Berkshire Hathaway, he's stepping down, leaving behind a legacy that's not just about money, it's about wisdom, grit, and a way of thinking that anyone can learn from. Stick with me, and by the end of this video, you'll understand how Buffett built his empire, what he got right, where he stumbled, and the lessons he's passing on to all of us. Warren Buffett's story starts in Omaha, Nebraska in 1930. Born during the Great Depression, he grew up in a modest home, but his mind was anything but ordinary. By age 11, he bought his first stock, 3 shares of City Service Preferred for $38 each. He sold them for a small profit, but later watched the stock soar. That moment taught him a lesson he'd carry forever. Patience pays off. As a kid, he was obsessed with numbers, reading stock charts like other kids read comic books. He delivered newspapers, sold gum, and even bought a pinball machine to rent out to barbershops. By the time he was a teenager, he'd saved $10,000, enough to buy a small farm. That's the kind of hustle that defined young Warren. In 1956, at just 26, Buffett started his own investment partnership with $105,000 from family and friends. He wasn't chasing quick wins. His approach was simple: buy good businesses at cheap prices and hold them for the long haul. He learned this from his mentor, Benjamin Graham, who wrote The Intelligent Investor, a book Buffett called his Bible. Graham taught him to see stocks not as gambling chips, but as pieces of real businesses. Buffett took this idea and ran with it, scouring the market for undervalued companies that others ignored. By 1965, Buffett's partnership was doing so well that he took control of a struggling textile company called Berkshire Hathaway. Here's where the story gets interesting. Berkshire was a lousy business, bleeding money in a dying industry. Buffett later called buying it his biggest mistake. He poured cash into keeping the textile mills afloat, hoping to turn them around. It didn't work. The lesson? Even the best investors can get stuck trying to fix a sinking ship. But Buffett didn't give up. Instead, he pivoted. He used Berkshire's cash flow to buy other businesses, ones that were actually profitable. This pivot was a game changer. Buffett started snapping up companies like National Indemnity, an insurance business, in 1967. Insurance companies collect premiums up front and invest that money, giving Buffett a steady stream of cash to work with. He called this float, and it became his secret weapon. With this cash, he bought stakes in companies like Coca-Cola, American Express, and the Washington Post. He also acquired entire businesses, See's Candies, Nebraska Furniture Mart, and later giants like BNSF Railway and Duracell. His rule was simple: buy businesses with strong brands, loyal customers, and honest managers. Then leave them alone to do their thing. Under Buffett's leadership, Berkshire Hathaway's stock grew at an incredible 19.9% per year from 1965 to 2024, nearly doubling the S&P 500's 10.4% annual return. To put that in perspective, if you invested $1,000 in Berkshire in 1965, it would be worth over $36 million by 2024. That's the power of compounding, small, steady gains adding up over decades. Buffett didn't chase hot trends or flashy tech stocks. He stuck to what he understood, like soda, credit cards, and railroads. His nickname, the Oracle of Omaha, came from this uncanny ability to pick winners and avoid losers. But Buffett wasn't perfect. He made mistakes, and he's open about them. Take his investment in Tesco, a British supermarket chain, in the 2000s. He bought a big stake, but the company struggled with bad management and accounting scandals. Buffett lost over $400 million when he sold. Another misstep was his bet on IBM in the 2010s. He thought the tech giant was undervalued, but IBM couldn't keep up with cloud computing rivals like Amazon. Buffett sold at a loss, admitting he misjudged the company's future. These failures taught him to stick to businesses he truly understood and to be brutally honest when he got it wrong. One of Buffett's biggest controversies came in 2020 when Berkshire's utility company, Corp, was blamed for wildfires in Oregon and California. Critics said the company didn't shut off power lines during a windstorm, leading to deadly fires. Buffett faced lawsuits and public backlash, a rare dent in his reputation. It showed that even a careful investor can't control every risk, especially in complex industries like energy. Yet, Buffett didn't shy away from the issue. He addressed it head-on, letting his team handle the fallout while focusing on Berkshire's long-term goals. Buffett's career is also marked by moments that shaped not just his company, but the world. In 1987, he invested $700 million in Salomon Brothers, a Wall Street bank, to help it survive a crisis. When Salomon got caught in a treasury bond scandal in 1991, Buffett stepped in as chairman to clean up the mess. He worked with regulators, fired bad actors, and saved the firm from collapse. This showed his ability to stay calm under pressure and fix problems others would run from. It also earned him respect as more than just an investor. He was a leader who could steer a ship through a storm. Another defining moment came in 2006, when Buffett pledged to give away 99% of his wealth to charity, mostly through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This wasn't just a headline, it was a commitment to use his fortune to solve global problems like poverty and disease. He called it the Giving Pledge, inspiring other billionaires like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk to join him. For Buffett, wealth wasn't about fancy cars or mansions. He still lives in the same Omaha house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. It was about making a difference. Buffett's attitude is what sets him apart. He's folksy, funny, and down to earth, often sipping cherry Coke and munching on See's candies at shareholder meetings. These gatherings, nicknamed Woodstock for capitalists, draw 40,000 people to Omaha every year. Buffett spends hours answering questions, sharing stories, and dropping wisdom with his longtime partner, Charlie Munger, who passed away in 2023 at 99. He's never been too busy to teach. At 94, he still reads 5 hours a day, studying balance sheets and annual reports like a detective. He once said, "The more you learn, the more you earn." That's not just about money, it's about growing your mind. His approach to life is just as inspiring. Buffett believes in saying no to distractions. He guards his time like a treasure, focusing only on what matters most. Melinda Gates once shared his advice: find your bullseye, what you're working on, and let the other things fall away. He also surrounds himself with people he admires, like Munger, who challenged him to think bigger. Buffett's not afraid to admit he's not the smartest guy in the room, but he's always learning from those who are. When Buffett announced his retirement on May 3, 2025, at Berkshire's annual meeting, the crowd gave him a standing ovation. He just finished a 5-hour Q&A, sharp as ever, when he dropped the bombshell. He'd stepped down as CEO by year-end, recommending Greg Abel, his longtime deputy, to take over. Abel, who's been running Berkshire's non-insurance businesses since 2001, was stunned. He didn't know the announcement was coming. Only Buffett's kids, Howard and Susie, were in on it. Buffett said, "I think the time has arrived where Greg should become the chief executive officer." He added that he'd keep every share of Berkshire, believing Abel could make the company even better. This wasn't just a handover, it was a moment of trust. Buffett, who'd always said he'd work until he died, chose to step back at 94, healthy and sharp, to let the next generation lead. He warned shareholders about global risks, like Trump's tariffs, saying trade should not be a weapon. He also admitted Berkshire's massive $348 billion cash pile was hard to invest because good deals were scarce. Yet he stayed optimistic, saying, "One day we'll be bombarded with opportunities." That's classic Buffett. Always looking forward, never dwelling on what's out of his control. What can we learn from Warren Buffett? First, patience is your superpower. Whether it's investing or building a career, small, smart choices compound over time. Second, stick to what you know. Buffett avoided tech stocks for years because he didn't understand them, and that discipline saved him from countless flops. Third, own your mistakes. Admitting when you're wrong builds trust and helps you grow. Finally, give back. Buffett's wealth didn't define him, his generosity did. As Greg Abel takes the reins, The world's watching. Can he match Buffett's magic? Maybe not. Buffett's a once-in-a-lifetime figure, a man who turned a kid's hustle into a trillion-dollar legacy while staying true to himself. But Abel doesn't need to be Buffett. He just needs to follow the principles Buffett laid out. Buy good businesses, trust good people, and think long-term. So, what's next for you? Buffett's story isn't just for billionaires. It's for anyone who wants to build something lasting. Start small, stay curious, and don't be afraid to dream big. As Buffett once said, you don't need to do extraordinary things. Just avoid big mistakes. Take that advice, and who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one inspiring the world. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about legends who changed the game. Share your favorite Buffett lesson in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next video.